Hey, hello. Every weekend we do Mythic Plus runs with different guildies on Saturday nights. So I'm tanking on this one actually. So I did record this one. It's not the smoothest run in the world, and just Nate, but I did want to go through a little bit, put a little bit together behind how I set up the pulls and how I'm tanking with my DK.
Welcome, one and all.
This first pull is always a little iffy because we take a lot of damage, so we'll push into it with full cooldowns. And healer we got along is pretty new to our guild, so it looks like he kept us all up through that pack.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I am by no means an experienced Mythic Plus tank, but I managed to muddle through, more or less. These particular guys are going to be dropping a bunch of puddles pretty soon. It's a little better if people group up for that, but they don't always. So as a tank, you can see my camera angle. I'm kind of trying to track to see where those puddles are going down, so we can move it to some clear space.
Let its darkness fill you.
Looks like we got a couple people really pounding out some damage here, so these bosses are going down pretty quick. So my job as a tank is just keep myself up, of course, and try to do what I can to minimize damage on the other people, which includes making sure we're pulling these mobs out of big green puddles. Looks like that. So our healer actually got caught by that frontal, even though he was pretty far across that platform. That frontal has a long range, so if you see the frontal pointed at you, even if you're far away, you gotta move. Which does mean it's also easier if you stay closer to the boss. It's easier to dodge that cone, even if you're range.
It seems our little pups have some fight after all. Now for the preliminaries of it. The real trial can begin.
Oh, we were on Discord for this run, but I excluded that from this video. Since we burned Hero on the first boss, head to PvP boss, because of course Hero won't be backed up, and Hero is less useful on that boss.
Mortal. Scrabbling after any shred of control.
This boss does a lot of damage, so not a whole lot as a tank here, except for just moving out of stuff and making sure you keep yourself up, because there is a good amount of damage coming in. That Earth Crusher comes out, it does AoE damage to everybody, and then if you stand in the circles that pop up, that'll kill you. Maybe not the tank, but it'll kill everybody else. I'm running a Deathbringer Mythic Plus spec, so you can actually get some pretty good damage here in the Mythics out of it. And I'm not running real high keys, so I believe the other hero talent spec might be better for the higher keys, have a little more sustainability. But I'm not sure because I haven't played with it. I've always taken pretty big spikes going cold into pulls on the DK. So it's something to be aware of. If you don't have your resources up, room of power for the death strike, then you're going to use cooldowns when you start a pull, for sure.
I will wear your skull as a trophy!
So Death and Decay I have set actually 2 buttons on my bars. Normally when I throw Death and Decay it'll drop at my feet, but if I use a shift modifier that'll bring up the reticule so I can drop it at range. Most of the time we're going to be dropping that at our feet, but certainly in Mythic Plus you may want to be dropping it at range a little bit before you move into attack.
All of you, feed on the void. Let its darkness.
I pretty much fire off my stuff on cooldown. Which includes Dancing Rune Weapon and Vampiric Blood.
Five.
You don't need a pull timers on these bosses, but I like to give a little timer. I know as a DPS, sometimes gives you a little bit of prep time in the head. Of course, these keys are timed, so you need to minimize what you're doing there. But the other way to handle letting your DPS know when you're going to do things is just to pretty much not wait, charge in. Or you can tell them, hey, we're going to pull the boss, which is fine. Now our healer did get nailed on frontal, and we do not have a battle res up.
All of you, feed on
But there are some interesting dynamics in this fight going on, so as long as DPS can stay out of stuff, and then of course as a DK we can heal ourselves back up pretty well. We can make it through this. Exterminate just does a pretty awesome amount of damage. So. As a tank, it's pretty easy to dodge just about everything there because we're already standing real close to the boss. And done. So here we let the healer know, go ahead and res him, because he'll be up in the center. Now with hero coming back up, A good strat is to go do the caster boss next. You can use hero on the caster. I don't really have these things memorized at all, so. But I did see the caster boss sticking up over there, so.
So fleeting, so fragile.
Oh, it's pretty widely known, but the best way to do this is tank run through and grab all the shackled souls and then group them up with some line of sight so everybody can AoE them down. It is a lot of damage going out on the pull, so I had to pause there for a bit so I think people headed to the other boss room, or on the way to the other boss. As I said, I somewhat make these up as I go along, so I didn't really plan out a route for it. Though the way to each boss is fairly linear in Theater of Pain. The only difference might be which order you do the bosses in. So I had a lot of damage in this one. I used my anti-magic zone on top of the group to help mitigate that. As a DK, you know, you can avoid a lot of the damage in here with anti-magic shell.
Feed. All of you. Feed on the void. Let its darkness fill you.
Now these packs, well, all of them. See, you can see on my threat plates when mobs are marked pink, that means they're a caster you gotta watch. Of course, we have our Mind Freeze, and then Death Grip works on most of the mobs as an interrupt as well. And Death Grip is usually up for these platforms because there's not a ton of mobs in there in each pull, so normally. Those Bone Reaver guys do a pretty big AoE damage here, so as a tank you just kind of be aware of that. Those Bone Spears do a lot of damage too. I don't think we had any interrupts from the other folks. Oh. Yeah, that's what the Bone Reapers do, is summon spikes on you. So I think our healer got hit by that. No biggie though. When you're running the platforms, it's better to
Scrabbling after any shred of control.
probably should have saved the battle res there. That's okay. When you're doing the platforms, it's better to wait for res most of the time, unless you just started. Because you're going to start back in the middle, and then you got to run through the ghost room and traverse whatever platforms were already done to get back to your party. Oh, that platform got handled pretty well, so. You can see I'm opening up my markers. I don't have any of that keybound because I don't use them that often, but want to drop the stack point for us to go to.
5, 4, 3,
Your souls are mine.
If I'm remembering the right run, I made an error here, and I'll talk about it when it comes up. One thing, as I understand, is that the tank here has to stay pretty close to the boss or start pulsing out AoE damage to everybody. And of course, you got a frontal, so you want to aim that away. That frontal will take out some of these balls that are going around. That's the error I committed right there, is I hit a bomb limb, but I should not have done that because I dragged the mobs into the boss, which did all that AoE damage.
Your demise was inevitable.
So take mental note, don't use your A-bomb limb on that part. Did have that one shackled soul sitting there that looks like I missed, and I was watching to see if somebody would pull it. Somebody did, so it'll be just drag along, do some DPS. Oh, I guess there's a little bit of variability here on which platforms you want to pick up. So I generally use the orbs to go right and then right because I know those platforms, but there are other ways you can go through here too, depending maybe if you want to pick up more or less percentage. But most groups I've seen are going right, maybe for the same reason I do, because that's what everybody does. Alright, so now that I know a little better, we're going to try this pull again. Looking at the death count right now, it's not great, but this should still be timeable. I'm gonna have to go look that up. I'm not entirely sure what to do as the tank on that one, because it looked like an ad was so close and went straight to boss. Looks like a priest must have got killed by something there. Probably the floating balls. So I do know tank's supposed to stay close to the boss on this one, or maybe we don't have to. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Definitely something else I can do better is to let's see here. One way out there, drop off my head. I didn't see a lot of damage going out, so maybe that's what I need to do as a tank. But the other thing I was going to say I need to do better here is take that AoE, and of course don't face it towards the party. I think if I can catch balls in it, then that's more ideal. Clear some of this stuff floating around.
Yes. Feed. All of you. Feed on the void. Let its darkness fill you.
At the same time there, you know, I can see people on either side of the boss, so if I swing it all over the place trying to kill balls with that AoE, I'll definitely kill somebody. Or that cleave, I should say. That frontal. That's okay. Learn a little bit on that caster boss, I think, for next time. It's like as a tank, just run out there and stand with the group and then get back in. Did not see anything trigger off for AoE from the boss on the group when I left melee. But if I remember right, there is some kind of interaction there. At the very least, I'm pretty sure I need to be the closest one, which in that particular mechanic there will be okay for me to head out there and drop my soul off. Just gotta get back in right away. Of course, we're going to the chain boss. Dangers. One of the most dangerous things here are the blighted sludge spewers, so you see they've been highlighted up in pink in my threat plates. All of us have one targeted. And the plan will be to use Death Grip for the most part. Keep dragging them back in. Of course, we have Interrupt.
After any shred of control.
They are definitely the focus. Putrid Butchers are annoying, but the circles they put out you can dodge. But if those sludge spewers get off a volley, there's a lot of damage, and then there's a dot too, so. This bull's just got one sludge spear in here, so it's a little easier to control. Now this bull can get pretty big. And what I like to do, because you got this guy here that spews that front and back discharge. It's trickier if you're in the middle of the bridge, because there's obviously, if he's firing up and down the length of the bridge, it's harder to dodge. And not so much for the tank here, but for everybody else. When you pull him up a little bit, then it gives to where it's a little wider, a little more space for people to dodge, so that's a good thing to do. This boss is somewhat tricky. I didn't zoom in my camera here, but that is something I found helps a little bit, because you get some camera clipping as those chains go by, which can throw you off a little bit. For the tank here, we take a pretty good amount of damage. Oh. Unfortunately, we lost our healer there. Possibly the spikes. I didn't see. Of course, you got a lot of ads coming up, and I'm not entirely sure about their aggro table there. I do try to get some threat on them.
Scrabbling after any shred of control.
Alright, we got a battle res out on our priest. Just gotta look for the open spot. See there, I was moving, but it looked like there was plenty of room to dodge. That second half of the chain gate. Like I said, this fight is somewhat tricky. It shouldn't, in theory, it should not be hard to be dodging those gates, but Definitely the green goo he's dropping on the ground will put slows on you. You don't want to be in that. Maybe the best thing to say is you should give yourself some distance from those spike gates. And of course avoid the green stuff. I think this boss in the ads hit pretty hard.
I'll catch something good.
And I believe I turned my back trying to move there. That's why I took such a big hit. Yeah, he was trucking me pretty hard. That's alright, we made it through that one. So actually, even with the mistakes along the way, and we got 12 deaths on the board, and understanding it's only 8, we are going into the last boss fight with 7 minutes left, so that's not bad at all. As I said, I'm certainly no expert tank, but we actually have a lot of groups that go out on our Mythic Plus night, and there's always a lot of DPS, but we scramble to find, tanks and heals to run each group, because they're all going concurrently. It's always good to have at least an idea of how to tank and gear up a little bit, so we can field all the different groups and get everybody a chance to play.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I tend to pull actually somewhat conservatively, so I usually will, as long as the group does it as okay DPS, will time the key. I don't usually plus 2 keys unless I've got real strong group that I'm pretty confident I can just chain pull one after another. So this boss, of course, let's advance as our friend. I took a real big hit of damage there. I'm not sure why it was so bad. Maybe that's just how it goes. As the tank, nothing big follows that immediately, so we can get our health back up with Death Strike or whatever you got. I don't actually know that was the right time to drop my anti-magic shell, but here, of course, you just keep a close eye on those charging guys. Make sure you don't get hit by them. Luckily, the boss is evaporating pretty quick here, so right here would have been the better place to drop that anti-magic shell. Ah, that's alright. I haven't tanked a lot in these dungeons either, so I learned a little bit for next time. So, I hope you enjoyed watching along as I noobed it up, tanking through this one, but tanking's pretty fun. Theater of Pain is not my favorite one, even as a DPS. Some of the other dungeons are more fun, but it worked out just fine, and we timed the keys, so good job everybody played there. And thanks everybody for watching.